Right now on News 12 New Jersey, a Patterson principal put on leave after this rap music video gets shot at a Patterson high school.
Also today, new details in the murder-suicide at UCLA as police release the identity of the gunman.
But first, family, friends, and a neighborhood in shock after a family of 3 is found dead in their home after an apparent murder-suicide. I'm Carissa Lawson.
Good afternoon, I'm Kurt Sieglin. This is News 12 New Jersey.
Shocking news out of a small town in Bergen County as a father, a mother, and their adult son are all dead in what appears to be a murder-suicide.
This all unfolded in Fairlawn last night on 4th Street. An early morning tragedy. News 12 New Jersey's Tony Caputo is there. Tony.
And you're right, early speculation was that this was indeed a murder-suicide, but it wasn't until about 8 o'clock, a little after 8 o'clock this morning, that acting Bergen County prosecutor Gray Graywall cleared up the situation a bit. He had announced that the victims are all related, identified them as 76-year-old Richard Tempe Sr., his wife, 73-year-old Barbara Tempe, and their son, 53-year-old Richard Tempe Jr., and the prosecutor confirmed that a gun was involved in their deaths.
All 3 victims also suffered gunshot wounds. A firearm was recovered at the scene. And I should also mention that we did determine during the course of the investigation that the fire at the location was intentionally set.
Who pulled the trigger and who set the fire is unknown to us at this time as the investigation continues. Firefighters were called to 4th Street just before 11:30 last night.
During the course of fire suppression at the scene, 3 dead bodies were located.
A woman whose parents live right next door spoke with us about the Tempe family. Do you know if the son was living in the home with
Yes,
parents?
he was living within the home, yes.
But to your knowledge or your parents' knowledge, no indication of any problems inside the home?
No indication of problems. The son was a little quiet into himself, but other than that, you know, hey Rich, big Rich, little Rich, you know, how you doing? And that's all I could tell you. I don't know what happened. Wish I knew.
Again, just very upsetting for everybody who lives in this neighborhood, to say the least. Now, the acting prosecutor wanted to make it clear to everyone here and around Bergen County that this was a domestic issue. They are not looking for anyone else who may be involved. He says more information will be released, maybe more specifics on exactly who pulled the trigger and set the fire as the investigation is completed. When we get that information, we'll certainly pass it along. That's the latest from Fairlawn. Tony Caputo, News 12, New Jersey.
All right, Tony, thank you. We start outside over the Driscoll Bridge, the gateway to the Jersey Shore, and you know, looking a little cloudy, a little gray here, but in northern New Jersey, it does look a little bit better. So as we make our way out and about, here's the story, and you know, it's not a bad one, sort of a sun and cloud coverage mixture. All right, today 76 does it. It is pleasant, and then overnight, mainly cloudy. The clouds will win the battle, perhaps a late shower, and we do think that we'll see a little bit of rain tomorrow morning. Mainly cloudy tomorrow. That shower and storm threat is here as well. Wind speeds calm to about 10 miles an hour or so, basically out of a south-southeast direction. Satellite and radar picture has been relatively quiet for us. Again, watching clouds trying to push back in. Bonnie has re-strengthened back to tropical depression Bonnie here. So again, not a major system and forecasted to move directly out to sea thanks in part to the cold front sweeping through and pushing Bonnie away. So again, the frontal complex is out to the west. This will bring with it the chance for some showers, perhaps an isolated thunder shower later tomorrow morning. And again, on the view here, satellite and radar shot, you see Bonnie here forecasted to move away from the coast, as well as the chances of rain moving in here in towards tomorrow morning. Future rain amounts, a couple tenths of an inch. It's not a big gully washer here, but again, we could see some isolated heavier pockets should we see an isolated storm. 74 to 78 heading home. Sun and clouds, pleasant day, warmest away from the shore. Overnight, mainly cloudy with the threat of a late showers here. Overnight lows from 60 to 62. I think it's more like, you know, tomorrow morning, 8, 9 o'clock or so to about noon with lots of clouds, and that storm threat is embedded within that, but I think it's a marginal one at best. Highs tomorrow from 72 to about 74. And a check of that 7-day forecast. Saturday, the best looking day of the weekend. The chance of rain comes back later on Sunday. We come back. We'll talk more about your weather and any changes to Bonnie. But first, here are Kurt and Carissa.
James, right now breaking news from Newark Liberty Airport. Chopper 12 is up over Terminal B at the airport. We're getting unconfirmed reports that there was a threat made at the airport earlier today. Airport officials tell us no evacuations were needed. There was no interruption of service. Whatever the threat was turned out to be unfounded. It is business as usual this afternoon. Stay with News 12 New Jersey as we get more information about what happened at the airport earlier. We will certainly pass it along.
New information this afternoon. Police in Los Angeles have identified the man they believe carried out a murder-suicide on the campus of UCLA. According to police, Manaik Sarkar gunned down mechanical engineering professor William Klug in an office before taking his own life. The shooting locked down the UCLA campus for hours yesterday. Classes resumed this morning, except for the engineering department, however, which will reopen next week.
Meantime, suicide prevention legislation inspired by an Ivy League college student who took her own life is now advancing. The State Assembly Higher Education Committee approved a bill named after Madison Holleran. She was a freshman at the University of Pennsylvania when she died in January of 2014. The Madison Holleran Suicide Prevention Act would require higher education institutions to have a professional with mental health training available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. New developments today from Patterson, where parents are upset over hometown rapper Fetty Wap's music video. The video was filmed inside Eastside High School. The principal of operations at the school is suspended with pay now while the district investigates. The video was shot after hours when the school is open for community use. The investigation will look at who gave permission for the filming.
A story you saw first on 12, a nationwide dogfighting ring crackdown leads to arrests in our state. 17 dogs, mostly pit bulls, were rescued from a home in Asbury Park yesterday. This is one of the dogs. Mario Atkinson was arrested. He's the one who lived in that house. Authorities say he had devices and tools needed to strengthen the animals for fighting. Atkinson was convicted of animal cruelty in the past. In addition to Atkinson, 5 men from Vineland, Westville, and Millville were all arrested. The feds say the dogfighting ring also operated in Indiana, Illinois, and New Mexico.
The latest on the baby born in Hackensack with the Zika virus. Officials at Hackensack Medical Center tell us the woman from Honduras delivered the baby girl by C-section Tuesday. The baby was born with microcephaly. That condition can cause brain disorders. Doctors point out neither the mother nor the baby got the infection in the U.S., and neither poses a risk to others. There is certainly cause, though, for pregnant women or those looking to get pregnant to take precautions.
Zika infection is short-term, and people can get infected and they can recover. And the biggest problem is an acute infection during a certain point of pregnancy. The question is that exposure the highest in the first or second or third trimester, and it's a question that we still don't really know the answer.
Well, we do know the virus is primarily transmitted through mosquito bites, but here are some other ways that Zika spreads. Like the case in Hackensack, a pregnant mother can pass it on to her fetus. Another way to transmit the virus is through sexual intercourse. A man who's infected can transmit the virus to his partners. In these cases, doctors recommend men abstain or practice safe sex. According to the CDC, blood transfusions can also hold risks. Now, it is important to note Zika is not an airborne disease and can't be spread by coughing, sneezing, or talking.
Woodbridge is doing what it can to protect residents from all mosquito-borne illnesses. The township is starting to take down abandoned swimming pools. All of them sit on property that was flooded by Superstorm Sandy, and the owners left. Many of these pools still fill with water and become breeding grounds for mosquitoes, and therefore they are a health hazard.
It's imperative that we act as a local government and do what we can to remove the pools, which are breeding grounds for mosquitoes, and advise people what else they can do to prevent mosquitoes from coming in their homes.
Mosquito experts remind homeowners to remove any standing water from their yards and consider wearing long pants and repellent when outside. There are 9 pools already identified to come down in Woodbridge. The Takata airbag recall is growing again. Find out if your vehicle could be on the list.
Plus, a new poll finds New Jerseyans are split on the concept of a North Jersey casino. But how do Republicans and Democrats feel about it? We have more breaking news to tell you about this afternoon. A law enforcement official tells the Associated Press pop star Prince died from opioid overdose. Prince was found unresponsive inside an elevator in his Minnesota home on April 21st. He was 57 years old.
Good afternoon, everyone. Looking good this afternoon. Looks a little better in northern New Jersey. I told you I'd bring you a picture from up north, and here we go. This is Wharton. This is 80 at 15, looking off to the east, and I think it's a little bit brighter, a little bit nicer as you move into North Jersey, certainly away from the shore. Now, I'm a shore guy. I love the Jersey Shore, but today, it's not the place to be. Not sure to please. We've got clouds moving in off the ocean, and you can see the wind direction is basically east-northeast. You head a little further inland, you've got more clear real estate and looking a little bit better there. Satellite and radar shot showing one little wave of cloudiness moving through, but watch that sea breeze front coming in with those winds, and also watch Tropical Depression Bonnie as she continues to pinwheel here right around North Carolina. So really no issue, no threat with that. Back out to the west, watching our frontal complex as it moves towards us. This will bring with it the chance for an isolated shower, perhaps an isolated thunder boomer as we move in towards tomorrow. And over in Wayne in the upper 70s today, Elizabeth and Hoboken at 76, Hightstown and Sayreville at about 76. Point Pleasant today, you've got 74, sun and clouds, a little cooler and cloudier down the shore. 74 to 78, Pleasant looking good today. Overnight cloudy, late shower chances 60 to about 62. We come back, we'll talk about that 7-day forecast coming up. Time now for It's Your Money.
Stocks a little bit lower this Thursday over on Wall Street. Well, 65 weeks and counting. That's the streak. That's how long the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits has been under 300,000. Right now, it's well below 267,000. It's a very good sign regarding the U.S. employment picture right now. Johnson & Johnson's empire is growing. J&J is buying hair care products maker Vogue International. Price is $3.3 billion. The acquisition gives J&J the OGX collection of shampoos, conditioners, and bath products, as well as other hair products. Another day, another batch of cars added to the Takata airbag recall. A big batch this time. 35 to 40 million more vehicles have to be checked. 17 automakers now involved in this, including GM, Volkswagen, Ford, Daimler Vans, BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover, Mercedes-Benz as well. This new group of recalls largely affects passenger airbags, mainly older model cars in states with high temperatures or humidity. Keep that in mind. We've been telling you about those airbags. They can inflate and send dangerous shrapnel around the front seat. Another check of business for you today at 2:30. News 12 New Jersey's Eric Landsgroner will be here then.
All right, Kurt, thank you so much. Well, a new Monmouth poll is out on just how voters feel about actually gaming outside Atlantic City. So where do New Jerseyans stand when it comes to a Meadowlands casino? Welcome back. Around New Jersey, around the clock. Hillary Clinton is unleashing a major foreign policy attack on Donald Trump. She's using a speech from San Diego to portray him as dangerous. The former Secretary of State is trying to contrast her foreign policy experience with Trump's.
As for Trump, his campaign is deflecting criticism of Trump University. A judge unsealed documents this week from a class action lawsuit. Those documents show workers at Trump University were encouraged to use high-pressure sales tactics. Manuals also told workers how to deal with prosecutors who were investigating Trump's businesses. Trump University closed in 2011 as part of a deal with the Texas Attorney General. President Obama is in Colorado today, giving his final commencement speech at the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. He is expected to talk about national security challenges and the role the next generation of service members will play in protecting our country.
Another move in the courtroom in an attempt to stop the release of a Bridgegate list. An attorney for John Doe filed a brief yesterday. The attorney rejects the media's claims that the list should be made public because it's an extension of the document charging two former allies of Governor Christie. John Doe argues he will be branded a criminal if the list gets released. Federal Appeals Court will hear arguments next week. New Jersey Supreme Court is getting a new associate justice. Governor Christie will be on hand as lawyer Walter Timpone is sworn in today during a ceremony at Seton Hall University's law school. Timpone's nomination was part of a deal between the governor and Democratic Senate President Steve Sweeney. Timpone was not the governor's first choice, but later agreed when Sweeney told him he could get a vote if he nominated a Democrat.
New Jersey voters are split down the middle on whether to allow casino gambling in the northern part of the state. The latest Monmouth University poll finds 48% apiece are for and against a North Jersey casino. Among registered voters, though, 53% Democrats approve, only 44% of Republicans approve. The question whether to allow gaming outside of AC goes before the voters on the November ballot.
Well, the streets of Newark just a little bit safer this afternoon. City officials, family, and friends were on hand yesterday as 40 men and women were sworn in as police officers and firefighters for the city. The diverse group of first responders solemnly approached the podium as their names were each read. The ceremony was the culmination of weeks of intense training.
So I think with the 40 police officers, I think it's the hue and cry from the public is safety, and they're going to soon see them in their neighborhood walking.
Newark Mayor Ras Baraka hosted the ceremony at the Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart.
All right, we checked your weather on the ones for this Thursday afternoon.
And we are talking about a nice afternoon. Good bit of sunshine here, everyone. Good afternoon. And we head back outside up towards North Jersey. This is 80 at Union Boulevard in Totowa. And you know what? I think we're faring pretty nicely here. Not much to really worry about today. In fact, nothing to worry about. It's a little bit cooler. Down the shore, we've got more clouds and a bit of an onshore flow there. Winds are south-southeast in and around the Newark area, but you can see you head a little further southward. They're a little more east, if not a little northeast in and around the Belmar area. So a variant of east, no doubt, just depends where you are. And look at that cloud bank and that fog bank trying to push ashore. Well to the south, we've got Bonnie. That's a tropical depression, so not a big player there. On the forecast map, low pressure tracking towards us. As it does so, it will bring with it the chance of some showers, maybe a storm tomorrow. Elizabeth and Hoboken, about 76 here. Moving into Hightstown and Sayreville, about 76. Matawan and Long Branch, high numbers here in the mid-70s. So here comes our frontal system working its way towards us. That's actually going to push Bonnie away from the shoreline and away from the United States and New Jersey here, so no issues with us. 74 to 78, sunny clouds. It's pleasant overnight, mainly cloudy, late shower chances 60 to 62. Tomorrow's a cooler day with perhaps a few showers in the morning. Here's a look at that weekend 7-day forecast. Saturday is the day. That is a look at your weather. Back now to the desk.
Plans to redevelop a shore town are well underway with ideas for new homes and shops on the table.
What that could mean for this Jersey Shore icon, though, coming up.
The fate of Calico, the evil clown of Middletown, and a major development project still creating some controversy in Monmouth County. The iconic sign sits in front of a piece of land that developers would like to make into a new mall or housing development. It's not known if Calico will have to be moved, though. Some residents, however, say the location of the famous sign isn't as important as whether the development should be approved at all.
I've lived here over a year and a half now, and the amount of traffic that comes through there in the morning, that whole area I think is going to be redone if they're going to build this.
It's a strip mall with very dense housing behind, so it's beyond traffic. The roads are not developed for traffic. There's no requirement in this planning application to fix the traffic or to fix the roads.
Middletown's planning board has taken up the issue. Final approval from the board could signal whether the development can continue and if Calico will actually come down.
Well, the farmhouse where Bruce Springsteen lived and the E Street Band rehearsed is now up for sale in Holmdel. You can own it for $3.3 million. According to a documentary, Springsteen's road manager, Rick Seguso, found the farmhouse in 1976 at the height of the Born to Run mania. Bruce rented the place for $700 a month. He stayed there for a year. The property was called Boss Acres and Thrill Hill by his fans. And a big step towards linking a Bergen County park to New York State. The New York Land Conservancy recently bought 46 acres of undeveloped land by the Ramapo Mountains. The nonprofit group eventually would like to link this with the Ramapo Valley Reservation to New York's Harriman State Park and then create one long hiking trail.
I think that's like a great opportunity for people to, there's a lot of experienced hikers, so I think that's an awesome opportunity to go further and extend your hiking.
The group paid $1 million for the land. It was paid for through the Bergen County Open Space Trust Fund as well as Green Acres grants.
The Statue of Liberty is one of the most iconic landmarks in the United States, but it only came in at number 6 in a new survey from TripAdvisor.com. The top 3, number 1, the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, that's in Washington, D.C. Number 2, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And number 3, Alcatraz, that's also in San Francisco.
Good to see them all.
Yeah.
Well, a Bergen County neighborhood is in shock this afternoon. Just ahead, more details on the murder-suicide of a family in Fairlawn.
And a Fetty Wap music video upsets parents in Patterson. Now the principal of one high school is off the job.